we need to be taking very seriously the warning of Dwight Eisenhower. And frankly, the Republican Party, he was a Republican, and the Republican Party is not taking that warning seriously. This is Dwight Eisenhower's warning, and I'm not talking about the military-industrial complex warning. This is another one. It's from the same speech. It's from his farewell address. But he says, we must never allow America to become a nation of dreadful fear and hate. Just listen to this. This is Republican President Eisenhower in 1961.
During the long lane of the history yet to be written, America knows that this world of ours, ever growing smaller, must avoid becoming a community of dreadful fear and hate, and be instead a proud confederation of mutual trust and respect.
There you go. And so you got that, right? I mean, this is what the Republican president says, we really need. And then you get Michael Savage. Here's clip number 1. This is the most recent one. Here he is.
What would you do about the radical mosques in America? Would you agree right now in the Savage Nation that you will consider closing the radical mosques in America? Because even liberal France has been doing this since the Paris terror attacks. I have to repeat this. Liberal socialist France, even they have closed about 20 radical mosques because they decided that they want to live. We know that this terror is coming from one place. We know it's not coming from Buddhists. It's not coming from Jews. It's not coming from Christians. It's not coming from Hindus. It's coming from one place. And we cannot condemn an entire religion. But on the other hand, we can't be blind to the fact that all terrorism is coming from the Holy Book. I'm not asking you to confirm it because they'll crucify you if you said I agree with you. You don't have to agree with me, Donald, but when you're president, we need to change things or we're not going to survive this.
Right. This is the Savage who, Michael Savage, who also had this to say.
Here's the religion that's practiced over there by a bunch of throwbacks, and we're to kill them.
Yeah, we got to kill him. And when Michael Savage talking about when he sees a woman in a burqa, how tolerant he is.
See a Nazi. When I see a woman walking around with a burqa, I see a Nazi. That's what I see. How do you like that? A hateful Nazi would like to cut your throat and kill your children. Don't give me this crap that they're doing it out of a sacred ritual or rite. It's not required by the Quran that a woman walk around in the 7th century drape. She's doing it to spit in your face. She's saying, you white moron, I'm going to kill you if I can. That's how I see it. What do you want me to do, mince words with you? I'm not going to mince words. We're too far gone in this country.
Yeah, we're really far gone. Now, okay, here's you got another one. Here's another one from Mr.
An outright
Savage.
ban on Muslim immigration. I would also make the construction of mosques illegal in America. And
Shano, pause that. This final clip here, keep in mind, we had I forget who it was on our program. He's a writer for Alternate. Was it Johnson was his last name, as I recall? In any case, he researched this and found that Michael Savage was the principal counselor to Donald Trump. That Donald Trump had been calling into his show for years or for a long time, and Savage had been kind of nurturing Trump along. So here's Savage. This is in 2006, right? Here he is.
An outright ban on Muslim immigration. I would also make the construction of mosques illegal in America and the speaking of English only in the streets of the United States the law.
The speaking of English only. This is bizarre. So we are becoming very quickly a nation of dreadful fear and hate. Here's Rudy Giuliani on Hannity's show. This clip number 4. He was talking about how he himself, if he were president, would become. Pardon? Oh, we only have 5 seconds. I'll play this on the when we come back. But basically, Rudy Giuliani is saying that he himself would become a war criminal, an impeachable president. You got to hear it. It's mind-boggling. So anyhow, a lot to talk about here. Stick around. We'll be back. It's 15 minutes past the hour on the Thom Hartmann Program. We were at the edge of Rudy Giuliani as we left. And this is, basically what he's saying here is if I become president, I will commit a crime worthy of impeachment. And not only that, one of the things that we learned from our little experiment with torture at Abu Ghraib and at Guantanamo is that, and I think probably the best example was Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. He was singing like a canary until they started torturing him. And that was the end of that. And on the other hand, you look at some of the most horrible things that we did when we were in Iraq. I mean, blowing up towns, blowing up hospitals, killing thousands of people who were absolutely innocent because we were torturing people and they were saying, stop the torture, it's that guy. And I mean, people will say anything to stop torture. You don't get good information out of torture. That's the number one reason not to torture people is not that it's some great moral thing. It's that you get lousy data. It's not the most effective way to get data. It's why the FBI and other police agencies, the sophisticated police agencies and intelligence agencies never even consider torture. Instead, what you do is you do a variation on deprogramming, where you basically bring the person over to your side. And then you end up with an asset. But here's what Rudy Giuliani had to say.
What I would do is I'd call the head of the CIA, and I'd have 10 pardons on my desk. And I would say, in 4 hours, you get me the information. I don't care what you have to do.
And then you'll pardon him.
And I'll pardon him. You just get me the information, and I will save innocent lives.
Right. He's a tough guy, isn't he? Yeah, I'm a tough guy. Yeah, I'm just here. You just do whatever it takes. I don't care if you violate the Constitution. I don't care if you commit a felony. I don't care if you kill somebody. I'm going to pardon. This is, it's illegal. Here in our homeland, one of my favorite all-time clips is Chris Matthews talking about this. I've been talking about this for years. First of all, the word homeland, right, which is coming back in vogue in the Republican circles. They're all talking about the homeland. We never used this word before 9/11. Now, the neocons very much wanted to, but where did this word come from? Well, it started really in the mid-19th century with the Zionist movement, the let's create a homeland for Jews in the Middle East, in Palestine. And Hitler was a student of the Zionist movement, and he talks and writes about this, that he was going to cause that he wanted Germans to feel that same blood identification with Germany that he believed that Jews felt with Judaism and other Jews and Israel and all this kind of thing. And so he appropriated the word a homeland. In German, it's Heimat. And in 1937, at the Nuremberg rally, when Hitler was at the peak of his popularity and power, here is Rudolf Hess, his deputy Führer, introducing him at the Nuremberg rallies, saying, Dank Ihren Führer, thanks to our Führer. Heimat zu sein, we now have a homeland. Heimat zu sein for alle, I'm doing this from memory, so I may be missing parts of it. You'll hear it in just a second. Heimat zu sein für alles die Deutsche in der Welt. And forgive my horrible German. Es ist nur Straßendeutsche. Es tut mir leid. But in any case, so what he's saying is, thanks to our Führer, we now have a homeland for all the Germans in the world, right? This is where the word homeland originated. Here's Rudolf Hess.
Dank Ihrer Führung wird Deutschland sein Ziel erreichen, Heimat zu sein. Heimat zu sein für alle Deutschen der Welt. Alle Hitler!
So this is where the word homeland came from, and about a year ago, I guess it was. Actually, it was 9/24/14. I guess this was almost a year and a half ago. Chris Matthews questioned this, and I was so impressed with Chris. Here's what he had to say.
Very uncomfortable with the phrase homeland. It strikes me as totalitarian. It's a term used by the neocons. They love it. It suggests something strange to me. Like, who else are we defending except America? Why don't you just say America? Why does he say we defend against attacks against this country? As if we're facing some existential Armageddon threat from these people. Do you buy the phrase homeland as a reference to America? I never heard it growing up. Never heard it in my adulthood. It's a new word. Why are we using it? Is there some other place we're defending? What are we talking about when we say homeland? What's it about, this new lingo? WMD, homeland. It's the language of the neocons. It's a language to get us further into war.
That's exactly right. And this is why I was absolutely cringing when George W. Bush started talking about the homeland's been attacked. I mean, and literally this just kind of came out of nowhere right after 9/11. Oh, hey, look at this. We've got this Patriot Act. It's more than 1,000 pages. It just happens to be laying around. Let's get that passed. And we've got this homeland idea. Let's get that in the general circulation. We've been going down this really scary road, and Ted Cruz and Donald Trump right now are leading the parade down that scary road. And by the way, John Kasich, did I tell you? Yes, I did, but it's worth mentioning again. John Kasich didn't get a single delegate last night. He won nothing. The so-called moderate in the room, who's not moderate at all, but nonetheless, the so-called moderate in the room, he got nothing. We'll be back.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-536-2370.
Has the Republican Party turned us into that country of dreadful fear and hate that Dwight Eisenhower warned us against? Tony Blair has warned about flabby, this is Josh Feldman writing in Mediaite. Tony Blair warns about flabby liberalism. He says, if you leave people with a choice between what I would call a bit of flabby liberalism and the hard line, they'll take the hard line, I'm afraid. Right. Well, so let's have an alternative to flabby liberalism, because you got Ted Cruz calling for police to patrol and secure Muslim American neighborhoods. As bizarre as that is. You got Rudy Giuliani saying he'll commit crimes. When does this move from, with apologies to Pastor Niemöller, when does this move on the Republican Reich, when does this move from going after Muslims this way to going after liberals? Once again, Michael Savage.
Liberalism is in essence the HIV virus. Right.
So, and actually, he goes on in that clip. I don't think that we've got the whole thing, but I remember the clip cutting. He goes into this long rant about how liberals are basically the poison in the bloodstream of America. Right. So, we are right now in the moment. In this moment, we are right in the middle of one of those. First, they came for the, in this case, Muslims moment. And then they came for the Mexicans without documentation who are in the United States. And then they came for, now, what was it, Kansas, I think? I saw the headline this morning. One of the states has offering a $2,500 bounty for people who catch trans people in bathrooms. So, then they came for the transgender. I mean, it's just... To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.